Hi, I'm Mark Riley. Welcome to the Limerick Post Show. Today, I'm joined by founder of Tomangate Limerick Whiskey, Nick Ryan. How are you, Nick?
Very good in yourself.
Not too bad. No, delighted to have you on. So basically, just a quick background on how you got to this point. You were working in London for several years, and you returned home, and just how you got to basically the process of producing the whiskey.
Yeah, well, as one would do, back finished from college, and I decided to go abroad, and I ran the rat race over there in London, and had a good career there in the financial sector. And I just after a period of time, I just realized this is not something I want to be doing for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
And what I really wanted to do was, I was passionate about my home city, my and county, and I had a real love of spirits and particularly Irish whiskey. And it was something that I was following for a number of years, and I wanted really to put Limerick back on the map, to revive our lost heritage of making whiskey here in Limerick. So, for me, that was really looking at, what was the history of the provenance around whiskey in Limerick, and reviving, the Tomangate brand, which was making Limerick whiskey down below it in a 6 acre site just across the way from King John's in Tumangate itself, just on Browns Key. So one of the largest distilleries around at the time. Was one of the most advanced distilleries, and they were making some amazing whiskey. But majority of people in Limerick may not even notice some of the kind of that history that's there, because it's
absolutely. Yeah,
hidden.
yeah.
Hidden.
And just basically to that history, it's like you said, 100 years since the whiskey. What was the desire? Where did the passion come from? Was it out of the blue? Was it when you were working abroad? Was it, how did that come to you? And when did the process start?
I think it probably started at a very, very young age. I worked in the hospitality business since when I was very young, and worked washing dishes and in the hotels and bars, and worked my way up into the bar as you do. As when you got older enough to pull a pint or
Yep.
serve a
Absolutely.
glass, that was kind of the way I kind of went down. And in the bars, you'd always see those little nuggets, and it was always in my subconscious there, and seeing it going, wow, that's amazing that Limerick had this industrial history. You have Spillans and Garryowen plugs and Tumman plugs and all these, like, the tobacco companies that were there, the biscuit factories, the Limerick lace, the silver, the pork industry. Limerick was booming, and it was something that I was very passionate about. Was that telling that story about a gone by age and reviving it, and at the moment, Irish whiskey is going through a revival. And it wasn't something that I kind of jumped on the bandwagon. In 2007, I was running events in Austria in conjunction with the brand ambassadors for Jameson. I was a student over in Austria, and I decided, what, I think Irish whiskey has an opportunity to promote it to the Austrians, and I decided to get on that, and I tried promoting it, and did a few events in a few bars in there. In 2014, I did a hackathon for Valentine's whiskey, and I won that in London. And then, I went off and decided I'd become an educator in spirits. So I went off and enrolled in the WSET, the Wine Spirits Educational Trust, and did a number of qualifications. And now I'm one of 10 schools around the world that is able to offer the highest level of education. So
Amazing.
it's
Yeah.
been it's been a long road, but it's
Incredible. Yeah.
you're going to do this, you got to do it right. That's kind of my logic, and
Absolutely.
I'm an ambassador for for Limerick, in my opinion. When you put a bottle out there, and it has our provenance, our history there, you have to be able to stand that and know what you're on about. So that
Yeah.
to me was really.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Yeah, just your background's incredible alone. Like, as I was looking through it, I was just the accolade of achievements that you have is yeah, it's astonishing, really, to be honest. Just quickly too, I suppose the barley. Like, what's the process with the barley? The day in, day out.
So the barley's growing well, thank God, this year. Last year was the first year to really sowing the seeds, and the first proper step of reviving, the provenance of Limerick whiskey and the
Yeah,
heritage of here days, and all that brand, and reviving it. So for me, it was all about, finding the right grain, the whole process, finding the right soil. And Limerick is not really known for growing barley, particularly for malting or for producing whiskey. So there's some challenges there, particularly the elements of the estuary. And remember the last year we had those quite bad storms around September, August.
yeah,
I had
yeah.
vision fields, you know, and luckily that didn't happen. We got a beautiful day, and you know the sun shone on us, and we were able to take the barley off the field, and then that goes to a distillery partner that we have up the country, and they actually make that into whiskey for us. So they make into the new make, the spirit, which, you know, it looks like a clear water white liquid, and then we put that into casks. The long-term vision is to bring all that process to Limerick. The first step is that we're having is a maturation bottling line here in Limerick. That's but the main thing is, when, you know, as an educator, I really looked at what truly makes a whiskey have the true provenance. It's not essentially where it's made, it's what goes in, it's matured, and that those two steps are reliant on the environment. The bit in the middle is a controlled environment inside a sterile, you know, a sterile location. So it has very, very impact on the actual character of the spirit. It's the input and the output, and the middle bit is very much in control. So yeah, it's great because, you know, I'm able to now taste the new make that is in essence the air, the sun, the rain, you know, of Limerick, that's been formed into a grain that then is made into a beer as such, and then made into a spirit. And then after, you know, a number of years time, we're going to have a spirit that is in all essences, you know, I guess it's materialization of the environment around Limerick. And absolutely, I think that's fun and really cool.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I suppose, just to jump to an obvious question, the pandemic, has it been problematic? Has it, like, what's the situation?
Yeah, like, I think with everything, we're all having to reassess things and look at the world around us. Luckily, the brand has a very strong following, and you know, with the way we've approached things and the way that we go about it, you know, we weren't held back by the pandemic. We were held back in ways more of just the logistics of getting labels done at times. You know, Brexit hadn't. But, you know, those are things I'm sure every business had an effect of just basically, you know, learning, I guess, more so to be reliant on, you know, being in your home office and being able to, you know, work at a distance, and, you know, trying to protect all ourselves. You know, the biggest thing, like, as anyone can imagine, losing in taste and smell is not a good thing for anybody, but particularly if you're in the whiskey business, it's
absolutely,
so a bit of cocooning was necessary. But yeah.
That's crazy. So I suppose, why you wouldn't have all the answer to this, but I just want to know, why do you think it's been absent in Limerick for so long? Why whiskey wasn't? Any ideas on it?
Well, if you look at the history, you know, the distillery itself, there was a number of distilleries in Limerick, and one factor was that, you know, the market changed. There was consolidation of the market. And barriers to trade. You know, we had a very restrictive market at the time, that we couldn't export into America during Prohibition era. During World War One, there was restrictions on production because of rationing. You know, you don't want to be using your grain that could feed people to make beer or to make whiskey, particularly. So these are things that all kind of attributed to. So it was kind of like the perfect storm. And you know, we've had a revival of distilleries all around the country, and I don't know kind of the definitive answer why it wasn't until now for myself, but I think, you know, there had to be somebody to lead the path and put the flag up. And, you know, there's more things happening in Limerick. You know, there's some interesting you know, progressions, and I'm very, very pleased to see, you know, others who are interested in this space as well. You know, it's all again about making sure that they're telling their story correctly, and you know, that each brand is representing Limerick in a positive light, and in a way that really highlights, you know, the true character of Limerick. You know, so, and I think that's really important. You know, that anything that we put out there has to be an ambassador, because it sits on a shelf in a bar, and somebody, you know, majority of people I talk to, and particularly, you know, when living from living abroad in the past, you know, when you say I'm from Limerick, a lot of people say, "Oh, is that not a poem?" You know, they
absolutely,
you know, change that perception. And I love the fact that, you know, you pick up a bottle of my whiskey, and, you know, there's a story being told on the back of it, and that, you know, you're really drawn in by that, and you know that it has little features of the Shannon Estuary, and you know each of the coins and all these little things. But you know, I'm obsessed with detail. But you know, for me, that is an invitation to somebody to go, you know what, I'm going to go there. I'm going to see this place. And I think time that, you know, particularly we can't be getting tourism. We should be promoting Limerick in a very positive way. And also, you know, finding means and ways of engaging with people through things that they're interested in. Because people who are interested in whiskey potentially may not have come to Limerick if there wasn't a whiskey brand here.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's something that's really, really exciting about having the barley being grown. You know, with the plans of putting up our bonded warehouse to be able to maturing our stock here. I just think that's just, you know, it's going to be really great to be able to welcome people in to a brand home, and you know that we can have those casks there, pull liquid out, and you know give that to people to enjoy. And you know, it's been humbling, the support I've got with the brand. You know, the Limerick itself, the city council, the local enterprise office, LIT with the New Frontiers program, the Back for Business program. You know, there's been massive support for this, and I just think it's something that's been missing from Limerick for a while. But you know, as I said, there's some exciting things happening in the city, and I sure won't be the only one for long. You know, because naturally, it's a massive growth space at the moment. But again, we have to make sure that we're representing Limerick in the best way possible.
Oh, well, you're absolutely doing that, because the passion is clear. I mean, it's refreshing, honestly, to hear your passion about it. It's not simply just not a whiskey. It's representing something greater.